Hello, I've just been going through things towards the end of the season and sort of getting a little bit sorted and a few other bits and bobs going on, and I've realised that I actually never did anything like a review for the TT or a roundup for the TT or anything, not on social media, not on here or anything really. Kind of got back from the TT and didn't forget about it, but we had a lot going on because of the TT and other things that kind of made me not remember exactly, or not remember to do a post about it. So we had a really good TT, but first I'll explain kind of the things that happened on the lead up. So the lead up was all going to plan. We rode the ZX10 with no limit to sort of give it a test, and basically found out that there was some bits in the clutch which weren't working together. We lost a whole meeting and loads of track time on that bike, which wasn't the plan because of the problems. We solved the problems with the clutch with the help from Liam at Corby Kawasaki, who was fantastic. It's been brilliant all the way through this year with help. So we got that sorted, and then had a positive ride. We went on to Metzler tyres for this year on all the bikes, so I kind of wanted to have a good time, good bit of riding on each bike to get used to the tyres. Metzler have been good with support in terms of what tyres to use and getting the tyres out to us, so that was good. But I didn't really know much about the tyre, as I've always kind of we've used Continental and then Dunlops, and then we've gone on to Metzler's because obviously they seem to be the better tyre. So we moved over to Metzler's, which come good later on in the season and towards the end of the TT, but obviously I'll get to that anyway. So yeah, so the idea was valuable track time, which we didn't get on any of the bikes in the end. We then went to our sort of like our proper lead up, if you like. We went to Mallory to run all three bikes. We'd ridden the SV, which is obviously planned to run at the TT again this year, which didn't, as obviously people know. Yeah, the idea was the SV was going to be run this year, and continuing on, we was going to try and keep developing it because we like the bike works well, and it has been working well, so that was the idea. We rode it once and we realised we'd got oil coming out. We changed the engines over to the spare engine, and it's still pumping oil out from the crankcase breather. We haven't got to the bottom of the problem, we've been too busy, so that's where we are with that. And that was, we went to Mallory with all three bikes. The idea was good track time, jumping from bike to bike, helped me get my head up to speed with bike changes, because obviously at TT, practice and qualifying time is so close together. So the idea was that I was going to ride each bike quite close together in races, but good for fitness, especially around Mallory. It's so short and intense. It was good. The idea was it was going to work well for me to actually be knackered and get a bit of experience jumping, like I say, bike to bike. I'm trying to change my head speed and remembering my markers for different bikes and trying to overload myself to get myself in a better position. But straight away I did one lap on the SV in the twins qualifying, and it was chucking oil out. I still qualified about 5th or 6th for East Midlands with basically one cylinder full of oil and one running, so that was okay, and in one lap as well, which was brilliant. But obviously we couldn't run the bike anymore. So we parked that and we had a good ride on the other two bikes, absolutely fine. The ZX10 is an absolute handful around Mallory. Anyone who's ridden a big bike there in racing knows that's hard work on a big bike, so it was good. Didn't get as much time to figure out the tyres, but I got a good feeling for the bikes as they were, so that was good. It was a positive day, other than the SV. So the conversation 2 weeks before the TT, basically when the SV can't go, we haven't got enough time to strip 2 engines and figure out what's what. We don't know what we're going to do, so the twins race was out of the question. That's it. It was scrapped. We was just going to run the 2 bikes and the Super Sport and the Super Stock and just see how we got on with that. Manor Flooring, obviously coming on this year, has been a big help before this point, and it's done a lot already. Dan and Leanne from Manor Flooring, sorry Lil, should say that, upset. Dan and Lil was there, so to come and watch and support, and Dan's really keen on helping out, so he was sort of spannering and doing bits and bobs, and obviously when the conversation went to no twin, we didn't have an option, but Dan kind of helped us get over that final step to sort out another bike financially, which obviously is always our issue, like I said in every video, and I'll probably say it forever until I win the lottery or something, I don't know, until someone just feels sorry for me enough and gives me all the money they've got. So yeah, so reluctantly, we, in terms of like knowing what was going on, we sort of found a bike pretty quick. Dan obviously helped with that financially, so that helped us be able to do that. Without him, it wouldn't have happened. So that was kind of our stumbling block, which he helped us overcome. And we found this R7 2 weeks before I was working away, which was not ideal, which caused another load of problems with money and moving stuff around, and I didn't get to see the bike, but Dad went up to Knock Hill, which is where it was based, and a ready to go bike. And to be honest, the bike was, it's fantastic, it's well built. The lady we bought it off had done a really nice job of it, so we didn't have too much to worry about. We'd spoken to a friend and who sort of knew of him and said the bike's good, and we've heard some good things. So Dad went up, had a look, we paid for it, and we took it away. So that was perhaps 4 or 5 days after the SE went wrong, so we was really lucky to find the right thing. Got it back, built a tank quick, which was relatively easy actually. It sounds harder than, I mean, the way we did it was an easy way, so that worked quite well for us. So we built that tank, and then we got on a track day at Donington where I run the ZX10 and the R7, obviously with just the tank on, nothing else. We didn't have no time for pit limiters, no time for mapping, no time for anything like that. We went as we was. The bike was just had to be, and it's really positive. We had a really good time on it. I gelled with it pretty quick. It was fast, it pulls well. The handling's incredible on that bike as it come. We boiled the brakes on the ZX10, which was frustrating because I wanted to have a good few sessions on that. So we parked that up because, so like people know, I went off at Redgate on the ZX10. So when the brakes played up again, I didn't want to risk anything too close to the TT, because that was I think that was about 2 days before we left. Jumped back on the R7, and then it started missing. It was running on 1 cylinder, which was ridiculous, and we thought, again, it's gone. So we got it back into the workshop and had a look. On the way back, I spoke to Barry Ferber of Baz Ferber Racing, and he basically has run the MT-07 or R7, if you like, since they kind of come out, and he's been pushing it and developing it all along. So he is like the sort of the go-to man on them. There are others who are really good, and I'll get to that, who have helped us, but Baz was like my first port of call with any problems with that, and he's been fantastic. I can't actually thank him enough through the TT time as well for that, for all of his help. So yeah, so he sort of told us what the problem could be. So we got the top off, got the rocker cover off, got the cams out, and we realised that it actually, the collet and the shim had jumped off of the top of the valve. And that's the part that actually holds the valve into the head. So with the springs and the valves and everything, it holds it all together. Luckily the valve hadn't dropped down and hit the piston. It kind of just held on one collet, which was fantastic. the shimmer jumped right out, and it was basically losing compression. So we managed to get that all set back in without removing the head, which by Dad's fantastic brain and years of experience of just getting me out of the shit and sorting my problems out on things I break or do wrong or whatever. I've trained him basically to be so clever that he can come up with things like this. So it went from SV no go Super Twins to R7, all going well, to gone again, not doing Super Twins because the bike don't work. I even spoke to Dan from Manor Flooring and said, look, the bike's gone wrong, we can't find it, and then obviously we overcome the problem. So yeah, it was go again, and then all went well. Bit time on the Metzer tyres on the R7 as well, which was nice. That was a good positive thing. So yeah, so then about 4 or 5 days, 3 days, I can't remember exactly what it was, we then left for the TT. So it was all systems go, all bikes are right, we was happy, 600 was solid as always, which never lets us down, touch wood. It's pretty solid, bulletproof bike. We've not had any issues with that, it's just been good since day one, so that was fine. 1,000, we sorted out the brake problems again, another phone call, Liam from Corby sorted us out again, saved me no end of hassle and headache. He must get sick of me, but he's a legend, so I can't not mention it, because it's brilliant. All good, so we all set off to the TT, absolutely fine. Got set up, fantastic, it was all looking good, talking the normal rubbish, meeting up with people who we normally only see there, and chatting and getting settled in. Practice week and race, it was pretty much all the same. Like, the weather was a bit all over the place. Some days we was going out, some days we was getting ready, and then getting up to holding area, getting scrutineered, and then there'd be a bit of rain on one part of the island, normally over the back, or up on the mountain, the mist had come in, and it kind of held it up. So it was a very stop-start TT. I mean, if people watch other videos, probably far more interesting videos than mine, I will see everyone saying the same thing. Like, it was a very, like, build yourself up, have your drink, have your food at the times that you do to get yourself set up, and like, that helps you prepare, and your body feels good. You've got the nutrients, you've got everything in you to perform at your best. And then all of a sudden, we can't go, it's raining. There was a couple of times when we was actually up on the grid for races, lined up on the road, and it's glorious sunshine. I think it was a Super Twins race or a Super Sport race towards the end of the week, the second one, and it was sunny, and you're obviously hat on, sunglasses on, trying to keep cool, hiding under the trees, and there's reports of rain. You just can't believe what you're hearing. So it was quite a challenging TT on the sort of mental side of it, and there was no days off. Almost every contingency day was used. So although you get up sort of at a sensible time and you're not up early, relatively early, your whole day is used up waiting around for races, so it gets prolonged, and it kind of puts a strain on everyone. So like the team who come with me, obviously Mum, Dad, my wife, Daniel and Mikey, who come and helped out, and Dan, who was there later on in the week. I really appreciate their patience for the two and a bit weeks, and actually sticking with it, because it was hard. It was hard on everyone. It was hard not having a day off and just not knowing what was going on. So you guys are fantastic, so thank you for everything there. So yeah, so the results was, like, the times were slow. Like, I'm still not pushing on results, I'm more focusing on building my times. We still made progress in the good sessions. There was random bits of water on the track. The track had got some, we went out in some mixed conditions, whereas the last 2 years it's been pretty good conditions, either all wet or all dry. But this time there was patches where it was wet, under the trees it was damp. Glen Helen had got a really, Braddon Bridge and Glen Helen had water seeping out of the tarmac for whatever reason. So they were kind of wet all the time. So there was sections where you make good time, where I couldn't make good time. A good, confident rider who's got a lot of experience would probably make really good time regardless of those bits. But for me, I'm still learning, so yeah, those bits I wasn't overly confident on. So the times weren't as good as they have been on the 600 and the twin going through practice week. And with new tyres, sounds like I got a lot of excuses. Like all racers, we all have a lot of good excuses, or just shit excuses. But so yeah, so it's practice week times weren't coming as quick as I wanted, and I wanted to make big steps, and it wasn't happening. So we carried on, and we made small amounts of progress in sectors, but not over a whole lap until race week. Again, race week was very up and down. We had weather, same again, bits of water here, bits of water there, and the track was in the same condition. But I kind of got to grips with the tyres as well by this time, and we actually had some good results. The Super Twin race, I can't remember the results. I was going to look, but I ran out of time this morning, so I went faster. I went well on the stocker, not as fast as I wanted, but I put that down to conditions and lack of experience on the bike, which we're rectifying for next year. The twins, I went quicker than the SE by a long way. The second race, we was before the red flag. There's like a predicted lap, and the predicted lap was over 110. We was looking at almost 112 mile an hour, which is a huge step. So that was positive. Supersport was exactly where it was the year before, so taking into account the conditions, it was actually a big positive for me in that way. The stocker, I didn't go as fast as I wanted. Everyone says you shouldn't set goals, or you should just let it come naturally, and I'd kind of set a goal for myself, and it wasn't where I wanted to be. So I was kind of frustrated. We made loads of setup changes. We got the bike in a really good place. The other two bikes, we did a lot with the R7 because it was new, but we got it to a really good place by the second race, hence the time. So that was really good. That was positive. We'd got that sorted. I'd done a good second race on that, although it was 1.5 laps or 2 laps or thereabouts. So I got into a really good place with that. So that was positive progress. 600, exactly where it was, or slightly faster. Nothing to write home about, but still really good. With poor track conditions and not a lot running. So I count that as a win. The Superstock bike is a different bike altogether. That is a handful. And for me, I was beating myself up about it for quite a while after the TT because I expected so much more, and I think that's just a natural thing for people who race motorcycles or anyone competitive. They always expect more than what they get, and I think it's easy to sort of slip into that. I wasn't very good, or there's always a positive. And Roddy Taylor, who comes and helps at the TT and helps me a lot through other races that we're together. He is a racer as well, so he's busy with his own stuff, but he helps me a lot, and that's his thing, is always find a positive. And we did with the ZX10. Although the super stock race at the end of the week got cancelled, we got a really good setting on that bike. So for next year, we know exactly where that bike's got to be, and we've done all the hard work. So a year of work, which I think is what a big bike takes. It's going to take a year of getting set up, and I think we've got that. The times could have been better, but we've got a good setup bike. There's a lot of people to thank for the TT and all the other bits, and I'll get to that. But on the subject of the TT with the R7, I've already mentioned Baz Ferber. Thanks to him for helping us, basically by letting us look at his bike, take all of his reference points in gearing, suspension setup, and Michael Rutter and the Batham's team with their R7. They've been brilliant too. Both teams have helped us get that R7 to where it needed to be in a really short amount of time and find out the right path. There's a lot of people who can tell you what they want you to believe with a bike, but those two were solid. They told us exactly what we needed for that bike, honest and helpful, which is a road racer's way, really. So yeah, Michael Rutter and his team, Baz and his team, thanks to them, because like I say, the R7 wouldn't have gone nowhere near as well if it wasn't for them and their advice. The 600, again, just aliens are brilliant. A little bit of suspension set up on that. They're always helpful, always good. Nothing really to report on that, because again, it's just solid. It just works. It's just there where it needs to be. So that was easy. And then thanks to TW Suspension, who's helped on all the bikes, because he's just a genius. And Dafabet for saving the day when a quick shifter packed up and coming down and plugging the bike in and doing all of that. Again, a big sort of big team in comparison to us, actually coming down, bringing their lads down and helping us at the bottom of the paddock, so in the bottom of the rider list. So yeah, thanks to you guys too. And yeah, so after the TT we have a bit of a break. I have loads of plans, and then basically money again holds up all the plans, because we spend so much going to the TT, and although we get a lot of help from a lot of generous people, it's financially to keep going and going across the water, go to Ireland. The plans were to do like Armoy and things like that, which we are going to do next year in the Southern, which we figured out a plan for next year, which we'll go into that. Yeah, so that was the plan, but obviously we couldn't get to any of those because of money. So we finished the year off with basically 2 rounds at Scarborough, and they was good on the 600 and the twin. Just enough, again, just good results. Big improvements on the tyres. So I was almost in 2 minds whether to go back to Dunlop tyres for next year and not carry on with the Metzers, because although I was getting on well, I didn't feel like I was getting on well. But we went to Scarborough and we had a good dry weekend at Scarborough, which is unheard of because that doesn't happen a lot, a full dry weekend, and the times were a lot better. So I'd knocked sort of 3 to 4 seconds off my lap times on the twin and the 600, and I wasn't pushing hard, I wasn't trying hard to the times. It come naturally, and the only thing we changed on the 600, which was kind of our reference point, was the tyres. So obviously the twin could be faster, it could be better because the bike's a better handling bike, which it is, and it's faster, it's got more power, and it kind of does everything. Like, it's got like all the nice little bits on it, so that's not really a good reference point. But the 600 is where we took the reference, and that showed a solid improvement. So we're staying with Metzer tyres basically. So yeah, so we're going into the off season now, or we're in the off season now, and we're working on the bikes. Busy as always, trying to sort out what's going on next year. The plans are we're going to the TT again. We'll probably do Scarborough and a few club rounds at the start of the year. So Scarborough on the twin and the 600, and then some club rounds on the 1000. If we can sort out some riding in Spain or Portugal or somewhere, if we can make it work financially, we'll do that. And then we can do the Southern. We've worked out how to do the Southern 100, so that's a month after TT, so that'll be a nice little break, and then go back to the Isle of Man, and we're going to do Armoy. We're going to make it happen, because we kind of got to, and then just kind of see how the year falls after that. It sounds like a short calendar, but I'm going to have a lot of things thrown in once I've sat down and worked it out. But they're the ones I kind of want to commit to in my mind. They're the races I want to do. I'd like to do Northwest, but again, funding, we're always on that. So, but yeah, so thank you to everyone and all the sponsors that have helped. Right, so something happened yesterday with the camera. I don't know what exactly happened. So, I did miss a bit where I wanted to thank all the sponsors. So thank you to Manor Flooring, Oxon Carpentry, Pure Beauty by Tate, RJB Motorcycles, Ugly & Co, Pipeworks Exhausts, Azil Racking and Shelving, EBC Brakes, GB Racing, Hazelwood Walking Sticks, Pro Bolt, Vanglass Limited, Ramsbury Park Hire, and DWR Dyno. Everyone's done so much, so thank you all, and hopefully I can try and get people back on for next year. A few have already said they're happy to, so that's brilliant. So yeah, thank you very much everyone and all the team, and everyone else involved again. All of your input is huge, and it wouldn't make any of this, none of this would be possible without you guys. So thank you so much, and